Hello, crypto world. Welcome to the Chart Historian. So in this video, I'm going to do something a little different. I'm going to show you three charts that are not crypto charts, but affect crypto. And I believe they are part of a puzzle that paints a bigger picture. And I would like to get your feedback on what this picture paints. So they are three important charts. The first one is the Dow Jones. So I am starting way back at the very beginning of the Dow Jones. It started in 1896. And this structure right here is the run-up to the 1929 crash. So what I've done, and I've made videos on this in the past, I've taken this structure here and I've copied and pasted it onto this side of the chart, and I included the actual decline as well. What I've done is I've matched it to meet this part of the chart's current timing, height, and depth. So you'll see that this structure right here is actually a close match once it's adjusted to meet timing, height, and depth. So I went through this chart one step at a time, matched each part to this part of the chart in the correct order. I made this one, for instance, go as high as it needs to be to meet what happened over here, and so on and so forth. So as you can see, this is a very large structure, a very large fractal. In fact, the biggest fractal that I know of. And it is a close match once adjusted for the timing, the height, and the depth. So let's zoom in here because this is important. So as you can see, we are not at the peak. However, we are very close to the peak. So we still have a little more to go. Now, I don't know how high this will go up. I don't know how long this will take. But suffice it to say that we are close to the peak. And this is the crash that comes after. Now, I don't know how deep this crash will go. I don't know how long it will take. This I matched to the same percentage as the 1929 crash, which was 89.50 something percent. Okay, so there's this massive fractal. And by the way, the bigger these structures are, the stronger they are. So this has been over 90 years in the making. It is a very powerful fractal, but that's not all. So this right here is the run-up to the C19 crash right here. I want to take this structure right here and copy and paste it over here. Okay, so here is that structure, copy and pasted onto this side of the chart. And once again, I matched this structure to meet the timing, the height, and the depth of this part of the structure. As you can see, they're both saying the same thing. We are not quite there yet. We still have some time to go. Let's zoom in and get a better look at this. And as you can see, it is following it quite closely. So the timing can stretch. It could go through this part of the fractal very slowly or very quickly. But say it continues at this speed, that would be near the end of this year, the beginning of 2024. And here are the declines. So the declines, I don't know how deep they will go. I don't know how long it will take to play out, because timing, height, and depth is always going to be original every time a fractal repeats. But they're actually the same crash. It's the same crashing structure that took place in 1929 and that also took place during the C19 crash. So folks, there is one piece of the greater puzzle. So we are near a peak on the Dow Jones, and this is representative of the S&P and all the other ones, all the other indexes. So we are getting close to a peak. I'd like to now jump over to the next chart. So here is the U.S. Dollar Index, or the DXY, and this structure right here, now I've made videos on this in the past, was printed from 1985 to 2002. This structure is being repeated on this part of the chart. Now, what I've done is I've taken this structure and matched it once again to the timing, the height, and the depth starting over here on this side of the chart. And this is what it looks like. So as you can see, once again, it is a very close match. However, we are not done yet. So let's zoom in a little closer. So as you can see, the DXY has been in a decline. I believe we are coming out of that, or nearly close to coming out of it at least. What we can expect if this fractal is to continue to play out, which it's a very large fractal, the bigger they are, the stronger they are. So we should expect the DXY to start moving up and most likely go above this high. Now, timing, height, and depth are going to be unique every single time a fractal repeats. So I don't know the exact height, how long it will take to play out, but suffice it to say, it should make it above this structure right here. So that is another piece of the puzzle. So we have this peak that is going to be formed in the DXY. Now, peaks sometimes do their own thing. It could look different from this, but it will be a peak, and it should go higher than this. So we have a potential rising dollar in the near future. Let's jump to the next chart and examine the next piece in the puzzle. So here we have the gold chart, or the XAU/USD. Now, this one is a little different the way I laid it out. I'm going to focus on repetitive structures that play out on this gold chart. So I'm starting in the 1970s, and let's zoom in. We're on a 3-day candle, so this is a zoomed out picture. But here in structure A, price moves up. In structure B, it moves up, does this correction right here, pulls back before moving back up and going into structure C. Structure C is pretty much the same thing as B, but it's more exaggerated. It moves up, has a steeper fall before moving back up and going into structure D. Structure D is the first peak, which we see here, and then structure E is where the gold chart starts to top and turn over and go into a decline. So this structure right here, E, has 5 different little peaks. So 1 peak here, 2, 3, it drops, has these parts right here, 4 and 5, before going into F, which makes the end of the decline. So there are 3 waves down, 1, 2, and a small little 1, 3 right there. So once this whole structure has completed, as you can see, or will see, it repeats again. So in A, we have the move up. B, we have that move up, the correction, the pullback before moving up into structure C. Structure C, in this one, was quite a bit higher, moved up, had that sharp drop, and it moves back up. Even this little move right there is actually in this one right here. So here we have D, let me make this a little smaller, where we see it make the first peak, and this one actually went higher than E. And that can happen. Timing, height, and depth are always going to be original every single time a fractal repeats. So in E, it's the topping structure, and here we have the peaks. This time it played out a little different. Peak 1, peak 2, peak 3 way down here, peak 4, peak 5 before declining. And in structure F, it didn't have such a sharp decline. It does have the waves, wave 1, wave 2, and the small little one, wave 3, where it brings it to a bottom before starting the whole structure all over again. So here we go. In A, it moves up. B, you have that move up, the pullback, the correction before moving into C. C is a stronger version of B, where it drops quicker and moves back up. D is the first peak. And here in E, this time E is higher than D. And here we have the first peak, the second peak, and the third peak. So if we zoom in on this, we'll see that it's moving up a little bit right here. That is most likely probably something more along these lines right here. So there you have it. There is the third piece to the puzzle. So the Dow Jones is near a peak. So the stock market is going to continue to surge in the coming days. Now, I don't know the timing of this. If things continue at this time, which they could easily change, it would be near the end of the year or the beginning of the next year. Over here, we have a dollar that is going to be likely moving higher than the previous high over here. This, I don't know how long it will take to play out. And then over here, we have gold that is going to be falling. So when the stock market crumbles, people rush to dollars. This makes sense. Now, with gold, maybe there is going to be some suppression of gold. I know there's talk about the BRICS wanting to make a gold-backed currency. Maybe there's going to be a manipulation between the U.S. dollar and gold, purposely trying to suppress gold. I don't know. There might also come a point where the dollar begins to surge as well as the stock market. So they both may go up at the same time while gold wanders in this area right here before eventually turning down further. So that could be an interesting dynamic. Anyways, I'd like to see what you guys have to say about it. You might have a different angle, bring up additional points. So feel free to put your comments and thoughts in the comment section. I'll definitely read them. You know, I'm not a financial advisor, so none of this should be used as investment or financial advice. If you enjoy this type of technical analysis, where I deep dive into the charts and examine chart structures, fractals, and patterns, you know, there is no one that is doing this type of TA where I really deep dive into fractals and chart structure. There are other analysts that use fractals, but in a very kind of a simplistic novice sort of way. I take it much further. And this is a system that I have discovered, and that's why you're not going to find this being repeated, because it's something I personally have discovered and developed. So if you find this type of technical analysis interesting, you should hit that subscribe button. I'm so glad you caught this video. I hope you catch my next one. Have a great day, and bye for now.